there's no secret, I would say, to remote work. I would say you have to use some sort of task management system, and you have to have a framework that everyone agrees upon. And maybe it's going to be different for every company, but you need to invest in processes to make it work. And there's no short explanation for how to do it.
This is the Brandon Smith Show, and of course, I'm your host, Brandon Smith. And today we're going to talk about anything and everything from how do you start a business to how do you become, as Anthony just shared with me, internet's most kick-ass brand. So I get the awesome pleasure of having Anthony Constantino on my show. He's the CEO of a company that I'm very familiar with in my house, Sticker Mule. So Anthony, really good to have you on the show.
Awesome. Great to be here.
Yeah. So I was saying, I totally know your brand because my daughter, Abby, who I've had on my show a couple times, she's a senior in high school now, and for her independent study, she started a sticker company or sticker business. You're really the company behind it. So she's producing all these really cool stickers that she's, selling at school and putting on Instagram and all this other great stuff. But it couldn't be possible if it wasn't for your company. And your company does awesome work. I mean, even just talking to my producers here, Isaac and Whitney, they use your company for a lot of their branding. So you've really helped so many businesses. So I want to hear a little bit about your journey, some of the challenges that you encountered as you grew this business, but maybe a good starting place is tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you end up getting into a business where you essentially have a sticker company?
Yeah, it's an amazing story. It's amazing how we've grown. And I think we have one of the more interesting stories on the internet. And I'm probably the only person that started a company with someone that up until the day we founded the company had never used a computer. My co-founder was about 70 years old at the time we started the company, and both him and myself spent our whole lives in manufacturing. And one day I just casually said to him, just before Christmas 2009, we were sitting around, he had just gotten his first computer because he liked to bet horses and he heard he could do it online. And he had just gotten his computer. He was asking
That's
me,
beautiful.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So he was asking me how to navigate the internet, and I just started BSing about the idea of starting an internet manufacturing company. And he said, well, what would you even do? And I showed him a webpage called Zazzle, and people, I think, know them. They're still around and doing well. And he said, okay, that's nice. I'm kind of tired. I'm going to go home. He went home and he came and saw me the next day with a notepad. And he said, Anthony, I stayed up all night and I thought about our conversation. We got to start a company together. And that was the beginning of Sticker Mule. And, to his credit, I said to him, maybe down the road, people when you're younger, I was 27 years old at the time. And, you BS a lot about starting businesses and, you just theorize about things for fun. I think that's what I was doing at the time. And he said, no, it's now or never. You either want to do this or you don't. And he said, if you want to do it, you gotta do it right now.
I love that counsel. There's never been an entrepreneur I've ever talked to that said to me, I started too early. I should have waited. Yeah. They always said, if anything, I could have started sooner. There's never a better time to start than now. Great example.
Exactly. And so we started, we had a conversation just before Christmas at like 5 p.m. at night, and we started the next day at, 9 a.m. He came in with a notepad and he said, I want you to decide if you want to do this, yes or no. And, I said, all right, let's do it. And the next day we went and we got incorporated, and my co-founder was 70 at the time. His friend was a lawyer. He was 80. And we went into him, I remember we walked in and said, me and my friend Anthony want to start a internet company together, and we'd like your help to get incorporated and get things started. And the lawyer looked at us and he said, the internet, my grandkids love that thing. And, he got us started, and we were up and operational 4 months later, and now we're coming up on our 10th anniversary.
That's super cool. And we were talking a little bit before the show started. It's not like everybody was a big fan of this idea.
No, I mean, people laughed and thought it was funny. A lot of people laughed. My friends thought, what the heck is Anthony doing? Why don't you be serious? And, I don't know. They thought I was crazy. I think, a lot of people thought I was crazy. When they heard stickers, people instantly thought kid stickers, like little kid stickers, the stars you get when you're in first grade. Congratulations. Yeah. You got 100 on your paper, you get a gold star, or things you get, just goofy stickers. And they were like, that's a business. And I don't know. We knew otherwise, or we thought otherwise.
Okay, so tell us a little about the first couple of years. What was it like getting that thing up and running?
The funny thing about us is, first of all, we didn't like set out to be a sticker company. When I said to my friend originally is we want to do an internet manufacturing company. And our idea was manufacturing was difficult to buy at the time. You had to buy through distribution. And we just thought that model didn't work because we wanted to work directly with customers. So our real idea was we wanted to get started and like build a direct bridge between customers and the factory on the back end and cut out the distribution in the middle. And we thought by doing that, there'd be more alignment, things would just make a lot more sense. So we started with that idea in mind. We grabbed stickers as a product. In fact, we hired our first developers before we even knew we were going to sell stickers. I went and saw them. And well, first I cold called them. I cold called them. There was an open source project that was created at the time, and I said, and they had a phone number. I said, I'm gonna call this phone number and see if these guys want to help us be our developers. And the guy answered, and he said, he said, yeah, you know, who are you guys? What do you guys want to do? I said, you know, we want to do an internet manufacturing company. He said, well, what do you want to sell? I said, I don't know. We haven't figured that out yet. He said, well, what's your budget? I said, we haven't figured that out yet either. We've never done anything on the internet before. Could you get an idea what we should expect to pay? He said, look, I don't want to be rude with you guys, but I get a lot of calls from a lot of people that don't know what they're doing. He goes, you guys don't know what you want to sell. You don't know what your budget is. I can't work with you. I don't want to waste any more of my time. And I looked at my co-founder and I kind of gave him a look like, can I give him a number? And he, you know, ushered me on. I said, oh, we could spend 50 grand. And he said, all right, I'm free next week. So we went and saw him and we told him the idea, and he said, geez, you know, I really like you guys. You're really interesting. I'd like to get started. You got to go pick a product. So I came back and I talked to a few people. We batted around a few ideas and said, okay, let's do stickers. And that was, you know, the very beginning of like how we ended up doing stickers. We ended up building the website rather quickly. I grabbed a kid who's now our VP of marketing. And I said to him, I said, look, me and my friend are going to do an internet company together. Would you like to help us? We can't pay you, but if you'd like, you know, down the road, if it goes well, we'll figure something out. And he said, well, what are you doing? I said, well, we're going to sell stickers. We think we're going to call it Sticker Mule. And he said, what would you like me to do? I said, well, we'd like you to design the website. And he looked at me and said, geez, you know, I never designed a website before, but I always wanted to. I'd be happy to help. So he designed the website in about 2 weeks. We turned over to developers. We launched within 4 months of our initial conversation. We launched a month after the website was designed. And right away, the whole internet grabbed it and started talking about it and saying, wow, look at this cool like website. We got on all these blogs where people talk about interesting things happen on the internet. And the amazing thing is the design that we did 10 years ago was roughly the same design we have today. It's held the test of time. Is a iconic design. And that kid is now our VP of marketing. I think he's also regarded as probably one of the best designers on the internet.
Nice. Beautiful. So when did you know you had a real business, like this was really going to work? Well, was there a moment in time when you were like, oh my gosh, like look at those sales or particular?
Well, two things. One, before we even started, we had gotten started. I talked to my co-founder like early on, and I had a moment of doubt, and I said, well, you know, what makes you think we could do this? And he looked at me and he said, Anthony, you know, I know you and I know myself. And he said, we don't fail at things in life, and we're not going to fail at this. He said, most businesses fail. 97% of businesses fail, but you know, we never created a company before. He hasn't, I haven't. He just said, look, I know most businesses fail, but we're not going to fail at this. So that put my mind at ease. And then we launched the site. Day one, we got like 17 orders because people grabbed it and looked at it and thought this was a cool looking website. And I think that was the moment we knew we were going to be fine. You know, most people don't get 17 orders their first day.
No, they don't. Maybe not even the first month. That's really impressive.
No. You know, we had a spike and then it went down and we had to build it back up. But yeah, that happens and we felt really good.
So just to kind of fast forward us a little bit to today, how many folks do you have kind of working as part of Sticker Mule?
That's you know, we're privately owned. You know, the interesting thing, other than my friend, we have no outside investors. Everyone else on the internet, I call us the internet's most kick-ass brand because like I think we are kicking ass. I think there's no one like Sticker Mule. If you look at anyone else that's done anything similar in scope to what we've done or similar in success, they've all had venture capital and they've all done things in a traditional way. We've done everything in a non-traditional way. I'm from a small rural town. My co-founder's 70 years old. He's 80 years old now.
Yeah.
We have no investors. We never hired experienced people that are experienced with internet marketing. We figured out everything for ourselves. So we're privately owned. We keep everything close to the vest because, you know, it doesn't help to go putting numbers out there. But you can look at us and see our the amount of engagement we have, the amount of attention we have and make a guess that we're not tiny.
So you've probably got more than 5 people as part of Sticker Mule.
A few more than 5.
A few more than 5. All right. So with that few more 5, what I'd love to ask about is some of the learnings along the way. I mean, you built this business, and there's probably multiple. My experience of businesses when they grow like this is it's not like a straight line. It's more like it's more like a step function. You know, you go up and you hit kind of a plateau, and then you got to make another big jump, and then a plateau, another big jump. So, what were some of those big learnings that you had along the way? Big things, or maybe obstacles, or
the first thing I learned that stuck with me the most is my co-founder, just the speed at which he moved. I mean, I talked to him when we started the company the next day, and that stuck with me from day one. And he said to me before, and it stuck with me, if you do more things, you can make more mistakes. And we try to do 100 times more things in a week than most people do. A lot of people spend a lot of time deliberating and thinking, and we just move. We didn't spend a lot of time thinking about the name. We didn't spend a lot of time thinking about the product. We didn't spend a lot of time even thinking about the idea to start a company. I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about the kid I wanted to hire to design the website. That was early on. We've kept that attitude. We move quickly. If you make mistakes, you just keep moving on and you fix them. That was like the biggest thing I learned early on that stuck with me. And then there's a lot of other things I learned along the way.
Yeah. So when you're now trying to kind of bring in more people and you kind of think about growing the business, how do you kind of educate them on what it means to work at Sticker Mule? Because it sounds like you've got a really cool kind of culture and environment where, it's very entrepreneurial, very kind of a fail fast kind of idea. How do you either think about who you want to hire or preserve the culture you're building?
Yeah, I didn't know what people talked about when they talk about culture. I saw like people at bigger companies saying, "Oh, I care a lot about culture," and I thought they were just BSing to say things to sound nice. But as you get bigger, it is important to maintain a cohesive culture, and I realize that because I can't interact with everybody, so I have to manage the culture. And I think the overwhelming thing that worked for us is we created cultural principles, and we got 5 values we look for in the people we hire. But people ask me, what are they? I have to look at a piece of paper to remember, because the only one that really, really matters to me is humility. We look for people that are humble, because humble people are easier to work with, and humble people also learn and improve. And if you already think you know it all, you can't improve. But for what I've seen in my career, as long as you got humility, you can do almost anything. If you look at the people that work for us, this kid that never designed a website before and is now our VP of marketing. And like I said, I think he became one of the best designers in the world. Our head of software, prior to working for us, had never managed software before. Our VP of HR was our first customer service person. He started working part-time. Our factory manager is a Jamaican immigrant that came over here when he was 17, started working in Taco Bell, and he now runs the Sticker Mule factory. So I think if you have a humble attitude, you can do almost anything in life. It takes time to learn, but if you have a humble attitude, you can learn almost anything. So we look for that above all else in the people, and that's what's kept us a cohesive culture.
So just out of curiosity, how do you screen for that in, say, an interview? How could you tell if someone's humble or not?
Now I think I got lucky. I don't know if it's true or not. I think I'm a decent judge of character, but I don't do the hiring anymore. Early on, I'm a decent judge of character. Early on, what I did is, I think I'm a decent judge of character. If I make mistakes, I fix them. So, when I was building the company, occasionally I misguessed things, and if I end up making a mistake and hiring somebody that wasn't a fit for us, I fired fast. Fortunately, as we've grown, we don't have a lot of our success rate for hires is incredibly high. Almost no one gets fired, almost no one leaves. But we did put in place a structured hiring process. So we have a hiring committee of 4 people that have to evaluate and come to a consensus decision of whether this person would fit our culture. And they say when you hire for 3 things, like attitude, skills, and knowledge. And I think the most important thing for us probably is attitude. We favor that over all else, because people can learn skills, like I said, especially if you're a humble person. If you're humble, it means you're able to be self-critical and self-reflective. And if you're a humble person, you can learn anything. If you're not, if you're humble, you can get the skills, you can get the knowledge. But if you're not, you only get the skills and knowledge that the person comes with. And there's some highly talented people that got big egos, and they're only as good as they are in the moment. They'll never get any. They generally don't get better at a very quick rate. Yeah.
So let's roll into break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about something you mentioned just real quick in passing that has really, really stuck out with me. So when we come back from break, I'm going to ask you. Okay, so awesome. We'll go to break. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Brandon with your coaching minute for the week. So one of the very simple tips that I give my clients that I find to be extremely helpful and beneficial with their direct reports, so for those manager clients of mine, is to do this. So at some point in the year, often about halfway between the time you give the performance review and the next performance review, so that 6-month mark, during your one-on-ones with your direct reports, at the end of the one-on-ones, I want you to ask your direct reports the start, stop, continue question. So in other words, you ask them this: what can I start doing to support you better? What can I stop doing that's getting in your way? And what can I continue doing that will help support you more? And what they come back to me and tell me is they say, oh my gosh, it was so amazing to hear not only the feedback, but how different each of my direct reports are and what they need from me. So think about a time this year when you can do that. Now, one more important thing around this tip: make sure you let your direct reports know that you're going to do that so they can think and prepare prior to that meeting. I promise you'll not only feel better, but you'll thank me for doing that. So that is your coaching minute for the week. I look forward to hearing how it goes. All right, welcome back from break. Of course, it's the Brandon Smith Show, and Anthony Constantino was telling us all about Sticker Mule and talking about kind of the cool thing you've already built. And you said something right before break that just stuck with me. You said, yeah, people they come here and they stick around, they stay. So I got to ask you, why, man? Why are people, what is it about what you're creating that people just want to be a part of? Is it the environment? Is it the fact they're growing and building? Is it the team? I mean, what do you think the magic secret sauce is?
I think maybe you have to ask them, but I mean, I can take a guess. I tell people, I realized early on that talented people are like a magnet for more. They attract other talented people, not just talented people, like nice people, pleasant people. They attract other similar types of people. So when we first started growing and people started building out their own departments, like we first started building out customer service, our first customer service agent had that job, and he said, how do I get this right? And I told him, I said, look, the first 4 or 5 people you get, they got to be awesome. And they'll set the tone for sucking in more people with similar personalities, and also repel people that don't fit their personality. So get the first 4 or 5 right. And if you make mistakes, you got to fire, but you got to get first 4 or 5 right. And then things just go from there. So I say it like this, cool people or, pleasant people, they're a magnet for more. And as you bring in more awesome people, more amazing people, the magnet just gets stronger and it just attracts more and more people.
How did you figure that out? That's brilliant. It's so simple and it's so brilliant. And no one preaches that, but that makes total sense. Get the first 4 to 5 right.
Yeah.
And then it'll kind of work itself out. But the first 4 to 5 have got to be right.
Every department. And that's the approach that we took. I mean, I don't know. It just occurred to me as I was building the company. It just occurred to me. I mean, I was very, I don't know. It just something that seems self-evident to me. But it is true. We did that in customer service. That was one of the first departments we had to build out. And I've told every single department manager to take that approach, and it's always worked. And it is true, because if you get 5 awesome people that all get along and they're all modest, and the modesty thing's huge for us because it just makes it so easy. We have people spread out all over the world that never meet each other, and sometimes we do meetups and they all get together and they just get along instantly. And people say, why is that? I was like, well, if you got a room full of people without any ego, especially smart people without egos, they just get along instantly because they're all pleasant people, they're all smart people, and there's no egos in the room, so people just want to talk to each other and get to know each other and have fun. And then every now and then you'll make a hire by mistake where you get somebody that's got an attitude or thinks they're better than the rest, and we've ran into that before, and they just instantly get repelled by the company. People don't even want them here, and they so yeah, that's the secret.
Okay, something else you said right there too I've got to ask about. So now you got folks who are kind of all over the world. I mean, they're not all in the same location. Yeah, and yet You're trying to create this teamwork and team environment. Yep. I'm sure it took a while to figure out how to communicate with them and make sure everyone's on the same page. What have you found that works when you've got virtual people?
Systems that work. When this started early on for us, our first developer was in England, and the funny thing that happened was our first customer service person was local, and one day he asked me if he could move to North Carolina. And I was like, geez, this is annoying, because at the time I was dependent on him being in the factory every day. And I was like, how's this going to work? And then I said, it's a good opportunity, because I thought about it. Most big companies, if you look at the airlines, if you look at any sizable company, the customer service operation isn't in the factory. They're always remote. People say remote is this new concept, but it's really not. In any like sizable company, departments are essentially remote. Customer service in one building and factories in another. So I said, listen, if you move to North Carolina, it's a good opportunity for us because we're going to be forced to build systems to make it work. And we were, and it eliminated a lot. We were handicapping the situation by letting him be in the factory and letting him resolve things on a personal basis. And we needed to figure out how to build systems to make it work with him being remote. And that was the first impetus to do that. And I don't know, that's been a long learning process. I think we use a tool called Asana to handle a lot of stuff, and we try to build software systems to structure things so things run smoothly ourselves. But there's no secret, I would say, to remote work. I would say you have to use some sort of task management system, and you have to have a framework that everyone agrees upon. And maybe it's going to be different for every company, but you need to invest in processes to make it work. And there's no short explanation for how to do it.
Yeah, but I also liked in that, and picking up on it, is one of the principles you hold on to, or attitude, is opportunity. So this person was leaving to go to North Carolina, and you looked at it as an opportunity. You said, this is great.
Yeah.
We'll just turn this into an opportunity to figure out how do we scale and create more virtual environment. Yeah, how do we make this work? We'll learn something in this. That's super cool. Okay, well, and one of the also things that came out in the news with you fairly recently was right around the holidays, you gave out $1,000 Christmas bonuses to kind of everybody in the company.
The whole team.
So talk a little bit about that. What went into that? What was your kind of thought process that went into that, and what were some of the things that came out of that?
People say I'm weird in this regard, but I don't think I am. My co-founders are similar in this regard. I don't know. Companies struggle to make money mainly because, like a lot of companies, for better or worse, a lot of companies spend money on foolish things, and we don't spend money on foolish things at Sticker Mule. I talked to somebody about this a long time ago. So if you look at where all of our money is allocated, it's all allocated towards things that make sense, the things that make the company better, and things that improve the company on a daily basis. And if you structure your company that way, you can be generous with people. And we never did bonuses of that nature before, of that magnitude before. But we pay people really well. We've always been really generous with compensation. We've always been generous as much as we can. And people ask me, how can you be so generous with people? I'm like, because I don't do foolish things, and that gives us flexibility to do that. So we're almost 10 years in, and we came to the end of the year, and the year was just phenomenal. And I'm at a place in my life, I say to myself now, I'm like, you can't. Once you're, obviously I'm in a decent situation financially, and for me to have another dollar, I live a pretty modest life. For me to have another dollar, it's not going to do so much for me. And I talked to our CFO, I talked to a few other people, and I said, what do you guys think? Actually, I even talked to some factory workers that I'm really good friends with. I said, I want to do year-end bonuses for people. I said, what do you guys think? And they said, do $500 that'd be nice. And I was like, $1,000 just sounds so cool. So, we decided to do $1,000, and then our CFO said, why don't we do $1,000 after tax? And so we ended up doing $1,000 after tax, which actually was probably closer to a $1,500 bonus across the board. And, we weren't going to, publicize it because it's just not our nature to do that. Yeah. But, somebody said to me, me and one of our team members were just talking on Saturday, just after we had done it. And he's like, we should at least post to Twitter about this and say we did it. And so he kind of convinced me to do that, and I did that, and it went really well. People, it started going viral. And then, whereas normally I keep things quiet, I said this is a cool opportunity to inspire people, because we're not the only company right now that's in a good financial situation. A lot of companies are in good financial situations, and I was like, it's a good opportunity to inspire more people to do more for their employees. So we ended up pushing the tweet with an email. We ended up emailing our whole list and saying what we did, and that made our Twitter thing go super viral. We ended up getting 40,000 retweets, which was a record for us, and then ended up getting picked up by the local paper. And we went from really on a Saturday thinking we weren't going to talk about this at all to pushing it really hard and trying to get the word out as much as possible. And it was amazing because a few companies even wrote back. One wrote back that very day and said, I just gave $1,000 bonuses to all my employees because of what you guys did. And there certainly was a lot of changes in the local community with employers doing things to reward their people because of what we did. So we went from not wanting to talk about it, saying it's just something we're going to do internally, to thinking, get the word out. And a friend of mine actually, he's actually an MMA fighter, and he does a lot. he suffered from childhood cancer, and he does a lot for Make-A-Wish Foundation, stuff like that. And he told me, he said, Anthony, I used to be like you, and I used to think I had to keep all my good deeds a secret, because if you're bragging about it, it's not a good deed. But he said, that's not true. You can't inspire anyone if you keep things to yourself. And so he said,
that's a really good point.
So you should tell people, and yeah. So he encouraged me, and we tried to get the word out as much as we can, and say, maybe other companies will start thinking about doing similar things. And like I said, one or two already did, and maybe more will do it next year or whatever. But certainly, Sticker Mule is not the only company in a good financial situation right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I know we're probably getting close to the end of time, and I don't want to end the show without talking a little bit more about the company. So when you think about kind of where you're taking the company in 2020 and the kind of customers you're serving, tell us a little bit more about that. Where do you see it going, and what are kinds of customers that maybe might be listening right now that should think to themselves, man, I should check out Sticker Mule. They could really help me.
The awesome thing about us, almost anyone can check us out. We get, businesses all use us, and it makes sense for businesses to buy stickers because the return on the investment's unbelievable. I mean, people spend all sorts of money on Google ads to get impressions and stuff like that, but the return on stickers is unbelievable because it just is. But aside from that, stickers are an amazing tool for self-expression for anyone, and we can turn anything to a sticker, whether it's a picture of your dog, yourself, your kids. We had somebody's kid, was 7 or 8 years old, and they drew a heart and said, "I love you, Mom," and the mom turned it into a sticker to remember what the kid drew. So there's infinite uses for what we're doing. And the other funny thing is we don't just do stickers. We do a wide variety of products. We're up to about 10 product lines now. So there's all sorts of reasons to use us. And when I started, I said, I want Sticker Mule to be known for being fast, simple, and fun. Don't waste time. Don't confuse people, and let them have fun too. And I think at this point in our career, like I said, we're in a great position financially. We want to have a lot more fun for ourselves. We want to teach our customers to have a lot more fun. And at a certain point in business, you have to switch from, look, if you just keep focusing on only making money, it just gets weird at a certain point, because if you're personally financially comfortable and you're privately owned or not publicly owned, you don't have investor pressure to keep making more money. So if all I do is sit around thinking about how to make more money, it's a little crazy. So at this point, our attitude is, how can we bring more fun and enthusiasm into the world for our customers, and do more inspiring things for other people, like the $1,000 bonuses. And we got some other fun ideas that we got coming out in the next few months that I think are gonna make people happy.
That's really cool. I love the way you said it. At some point, it gets to a point where just trying to make more money gets kind of weird. It just gets weird. Like, why are you really doing this? I love that. It's so cool. Well, I ask all my guests this question when we get towards the end of the show. What's one life hack you have for us to help us live a life more free from dysfunction? So it can be really anything under the sun, either personally or professionally. Kind of one of your life principles that you just think makes things healthier or better.
I think the funniest one is, when we started Sticker Mule, and everyone knows this about me. I used to be embarrassed to admit it or let people know, but I'm a late riser. I like to sleep in. Sometimes I don't show up to work until noon, and it was my company. Nobody could tell me not to do that. So I stroll into work late, and I used to think it was a bad thing, but I think it actually is great because my mind's always fully rested. And I was listening to Floyd Mayweather talk about boxing, and he actually said he has the same exact program. He said he sleeps until he doesn't want to sleep anymore, and then he calls his coach and he goes and trains. And he's like, I don't like the idea of waking up at 7 a.m, tired and trying to train. And I think I don't know, something I was always embarrassed about, but for me it worked. I had no issues with it, and I think it helped me a lot because it kept, my mind worked really well. I can feel it when I don't sleep enough. My mind doesn't work as well. I'm not as sharp. So that's my favorite one.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
So this has been great. So if people want to learn more about Sticker Mule or more about you, where can they go?
Yeah. I'm a mystery. You can't find nothing about me. I've done a few interviews, but it's hard to find stuff about me. I would say go check out our Twitter right now. We're pushing that really hard. We have, it's amazing. We have probably we probably have the best brand Twitter on the platform right now. I mean, we have more action going on than major brands like Nike and I don't know where else you want to name. We're probably one of the most exciting brands on Twitter right now. So I would say check out @Sticker Mule on Twitter. That's fun. And Google Sticker Mule or go to stickermule.com and buy something if you want to do that too.
Very cool. Nice. Thanks for coming on the show. This was perfect. I mean, I learned a lot today. Everything from thinking about how to just kind of start a business and get going, but to even thinking about creating that core group of 4, and just even the idea of humility doesn't mean you can't talk about the good stuff you're doing in the world, because you want to share that so you can inspire people. Super cool. It's full of awesome nuggets. So thanks, Anthony, for coming on. And thanks for watching and listening to the show. And of course, catch a new show every week as we drop a new episode. And if you're not currently listening on iTunes or Stitcher, you should. And if you are listening, please rate and review the show, because that's how more people find us, so we can increase our tribe and make our workplaces healthier. And so until next week, have a great week and an awesome life.